China has turned off the tap of rare earth minerals and Indian industry is choking. Rare earths are those naturally occurring minerals that are critically used in making magnets and even go into processors and semiconductors, which means they are crucial in the manufacturing of anything from electric car batteries, robotics, clean energy, and even missiles. Now get this. While China presently makes up 90% of the world's rare earths production, the fact is that India actually has some 69 lakh tons of rare earths, behind China's 400 lakh tons or so. But still, that makes India home to the third largest rare earths reserve in the world, behind China and Brazil. Yet, India is desperate for rare earths after China's placing of restrictions on rare earths export, with many car companies in India, especially Maruti Suzuki, talking of even production being halted by next month, once its stock of magnets and other components employing rare earths run out. What exactly is happening? Let's clarify the confusion, shall we? What is happening right now is part of the whole trade wars that are going on. China is using its control of the rare earths trade as a bargaining chip with the US. It has been imposing limits since 2023, but dialed up export controls after Trump imposed massive tariffs on goods from the mainland. There is no outright ban as such, but getting many of the rare earth minerals from China now require licenses, and every shipment has to be cleared. Permissions have to be sought. American and many Indian manufacturers have found the going tough. In fact, it could well have been the reason why US quickly agreed to talks and a truce last month in Geneva. But what may be aimed primarily at Uncle Sam is hurting neighbor Narendra too pretty badly. Crucial manufacturing, and not just automobile manufacturing, is hurting and could even come to a halt if something is not done, and quickly. Indian government has realized the danger and is working on a two-pronged approach. One, it's sending a delegation to China. And secondly, it's finally looking with seriousness at its own massive reserves. Like I said earlier, the world's third largest, and figuring out ways to make use of it. And what with the National Critical Minerals Policy put in place earlier this year. There are also talks of roping in the private sector, though there is a PSU called Indian Rare Earths Limited, which has pretty much been ignored by successive governments all this while. Now, with so much reserves of these rare earths in our beach sands and our hills, what is stopping us? It will shock you when I say this. Despite having, for example, 35% of the world's beach and sand mineral deposits, for example, guess what is India's share in the global rare earths trade? Just about 1%. The reason? We may have the natural resources, but we just don't have the ability to mine and extract these raw materials, nor the expertise to process and refine them before they can be used for trading. Note that while China has around 60% of known rare earth resources, it exports 90% of the world's processed rare earths, which means many raw rare earth elements from other parts of the world are actually taken to China before they are processed and they hit the market. Any which way, China is said to be slowly easing the restrictions after its US interim deal, though supply chain issues would mean that by the time they hit the market, it could be months before our manufacturing plants see the much needed elements in their hands. With geopolitics being what it is right now, it is perhaps time for India to wake up and look at long-term solutions to such crises, which include reducing its dependence for strategic materials on rival nations and look at building up its own indigenous ecosystem. It's going to be a long march.